Kunja Bihari. Daya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopidana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopidana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yasodhanandana Brajananandana. Yasodhanandana Brajananandana. Yasodhanandana Brajananandana. Yamunatira Manachari. Yamunatira Manachari. Daya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Daya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Second, take this thing off. Okay. Thank you. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Reading from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, Chapter 2, Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text number 31. Shishu Vatsahari Brahmakari Aparat. Aparad Ksumaite Magena Prasad. Shishu Vatsahari Brahmakari Aparad. Aparad Ksumaite Magena Prasad. Shishu Vatsahari Brahmakari Aparad. Aparadak Samaite Magena Prasad. Shishu Vatsahari Brahmakari Aparad. Aparadak Samaite Magena Prasad. Shisu, playmates, Vatsa, calves, Hari, stealing, Brahma, Lord Brahma, Kari, making, Aparat, offense, Aparat, offense, Ksamiti, to pardon, Maggena, begged, Prasad, mercy. Translation. After Brahma had offended Krishna by stealing his playmates and calves, he begged the Lord's pardon for his offense and his offensive act and prayed for the Lord's mercy. Text 32. Tamanami patmahaita atma janmadaya tumi pittamata amito maratanaya. I took birth from the lotus that grew from your navel. Thus you're both my father and my mother, and I'm your son. Pittamadi ballakere nalaya aparad aparadaksame mura karaha prasad. Parents never take seriously the offense of their children. I therefore beg your pardon and ask your benediction. Krishna kaina brahma toma pitta narayan ami gopa tumi keche amar nandan. Sri Krishna said, O Brahma, your father is Narayan. I'm but a cowherd boy. How can you be my son? Brahma bolena tumi ki nahai Narayan. Tumi Narayan sunitar karan. Brahma replied, Are you not Narayan? You are certainly Narayan. Please listen as I state the proofs. Prakrita prakrita sristya yatta jivarupa taharyatma tumi mulla swarupa. All the living beings within the material and spiritual worlds are ultimately born of you. For you are the super soul of them all. Purport. The cosmic manifestation is generated by the interaction of the three modes of material nature. The transcendental world has no such material modes, although it is nevertheless full of spiritual variegatedness. In that spiritual world, there are also innumerable living entities who are eternally liberated souls, engaged in transcendental loving service to Lord Krishna. The conditioned souls who remain within the material cosmic creation are subjected to the threefold miseries and pangs of material nature. They exist in different spheres of life because they are eternally averse to transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord. Sankirtan is the original source of all living entities because they are all expansions of his marginal potency. Some of them are conditioned by material nature, whereas others are under the protection of the spiritual nature. The material nature is in a conditional manifestation of spiritual nature, just as smoke is a conditional stage of fire. Smoke is dependent on fire, but in blazing fire there is no place for smoke. Smoke disturbs, but fire serves. The serving spirit of the residents of the transcendental world is displayed in 5 varieties of relationships with the Supreme Lord, who is the central enjoyer. In the material world, everyone is a self-centered enjoyer of mundane happiness and distress. One considers himself the Lord of everything and tries to enjoy the illusory energy, but he's not successful because he's not independent. He is but a minute particle of the energy of Lord Sankirtan. All living entities exist under the control of the Supreme Lord, who is therefore called Narayan. 1 sec. So. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnanandana Salakesha Kshudamiritam Yena Tasmai Sigurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sita Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaisavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahakana Lalita Sivisakan Vitamscha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yes. So Lord Brahma, somehow or other, Lord Brahma was thinking, who is this boy? Who is this boy? I mean, certainly he did something. No, really. He lifted a hill, which is not a small thing. Who can lift a hill? He lifted a hill and he swallowed a fire. So he certainly did some extraordinary things, undoubtedly. But maybe these simple village people from Vrindavan have become a little bit too impressed by all of this. Because, after all, let's put things in perspective. I mean, I am Lord Brahma. I am Lord Brahma, and I am placing planetary systems. You got it? Planetary systems in their place. So, you see hills, planetary systems? Yes. So, it's like that. I will teach them, and the boy, who I really am, right? Just so to put things in perspective. So while he is playing with his friends, I'll play a trick on him, and I'll just, take away all his friends and just put him in some sleep, some mystic sleep in a cave. Good plan. And then you'll see him, not knowing what has happened. And then it will be shown the limits of his mystic power, and everyone will understand who is ultimately the controller in this universe. A brilliant plan. Yes. And Lord Brahma came to that place, and he saw that boy there. And he saw that boy, Krishna, who was so glorified by the villagers. And he saw that the boy was having some rice mixed with bananas and yogurt in his left hand. Left hand, you know what I mean? He didn't even know the proper hand. I mean, simple village boy. Right? And then, next moment, yes, when the boy was looking for a missing calf, that's when Lord Brahma just took all the friends and calves and hid them in a cave. Then he went back to see the fun, and he saw that all the calves and cowherds were there. And he said, what is this? How is this? Now he became bewildered. He went to his cave, and he saw that all the boys were there. And he went back and he saw that all the boys were with Krishna, and now he became very bewildered. Just then, as Brahma didn't know what was happening, all these forms of the boys and the calves turned into Vishnu Murtis, 4-armed Vishnu forms. Now, Lord Brahma, he knew, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 arms. Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. So he knew, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. So Lord Brahma immediately felt like, I am in trouble. But then he started to approach the Lord in great humility, and he started to offer prayers. But in his prayers, he was saying different things, how the Supreme Lord has unlimited qualities. He said, even if we would count all these snowflakes in the sky, we could never know the limit of your qualities. Even if we could smash the earth to powder and count all the atoms, still we would never come to the end of your qualities. In this way he was praying, and then he was explaining that actually, since I appeared from your navel, on a lotus flower from your navel, therefore some say I'm Aja, or the one who is not really born, who has no father or no mother, but really you are actually my father and my mother, because I appeared from you only. So you're both. And when a child is on the lap of his parents, and even if the child would pass stool, still, parents don't take offense. Any offense of the child is easily forgiven. In this way, Lord Brahma tried to manipulate the situation. But we can see, and he said yes to Krishna, yes, I am your son. But Krishna was responding and saying, but my dear Lord Brahma, what are you saying? Lord Narayan is your father and mother. I am just a simple cowherd boy. But then Lord Brahma didn't settle for that. And Lord Brahma began to speak in Bhagavatam. He began to state, no, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is turning to Srimad Bhagavatam to establish that Krishna is Bhagavan Swayam, that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, on the basis of the authority of Lord Brahma. Is Adikavaye. He is Adikavi. Lord Brahma, he is the original learned person. Yes. First there is Krishna, and then there's Lord Brahma in our Sampradaya, and then Narada, and then Vyas. And like this, the transcendental knowledge comes down in disciplic succession, yes, to us. And Lord Brahma is a key personality. So when Lord Brahma establishes a point, Lord Brahma is the original Brahmana. Right? He was initiated directly by Krishna. So he's the first initiated being. There are so many since then have sat in a fire sacrifice and have taken initiation, but Lord Brahma was the first one who was initiated with transcendental knowledge, because Diksha is about transferring Divya Gyan, transferring transcendental knowledge. So Lord Krishna, he transferred complete transcendental knowledge to Lord Brahma. He transferred the full knowledge of the Vedas, and then that knowledge of the Vedas came from the four mouths of Lord Brahma. And so that knowledge originated from the breath of the Supreme Lord, and then Lord Brahma heard it. That is why it is known as the Sruti. Those scriptures that arose from the breath of the Supreme Lord are known as the Sruti. And then, so in this way, Lord Brahma, he spoke transcendental knowledge, and he himself was the first one to realize. Then this, then some Shruti Smriti Purana Di Pancharatrim Vidim Vina. Some are worshipping the Shruti, some are worshipping the Smriti, and again, others are worshipping the Pancharatra or the Itihasas. So how about all this? How does that all work? Well, then in the Chandogya Upanishad, it is said that Puranam, Itihasam, Panchanam Vedam. These scriptures are classified as the fifth Veda in the Shruti. So people say, the impersonalists say, only Shruti is bona fide. Purana we don't accept. Because that is Smriti. Shruti is what is heard, and Smriti is what is remembered. Shruti comes from Sravanam, Smriti comes from Smaranam, remembering. So that is remembered by great sages and this, that, and it's very good, but it's not infallible like Shruti, so they say. But then the Shruti itself, the Chandogya Upanishad, is disagreeing with them and says, no, this is the fifth Veda. So Jiva Goswami builds his case on this in his Satsandarbhas, which in the first Sandarbha, the Tattva Sandarbha, he established on the base of this verse from Chandogya Upanishad that Bhagavatam is evidence. That Bhagavatam is Vedic Praman. And once that is established, right, therefore, with the help of Jiva Goswami's Tattva Sandarbha, we are now here seeing the evidence from the Bhagavatam in front of us. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Finished. Argument closed. Case closed. Anyone has anything to say? No. You are now, there's nothing you have to say, because you cannot argue with the Srimad Bhagavatam, because you cannot argue with the Vedic literature. Meanwhile, Lord Brahma, who received the first initiation of that ever took place in the universe of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he received the 14 departments of Vedic learning, and he also received the internal knowledge. He received the Gayatri Mantra. And amongst the Gayatri Mantra, some of the Gayatri Mantras are there are 7 Gayatri Mantras. And Lord Brahma, he chants this Gayatri Mantra as one of the Gayatri Mantras. He chants it as his worshipable mantra. So he's not chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, he's chanting a Gayatri Mantra as his meditation. Right? Yes, Lord Brahma was so qualified, he could do so. Lord Brahma understands fully the nature of the spiritual world. Venum kvanantam aravinda dalaya taksam bharavatam samasitam buddhasundarangam kandarpa koti kamaniya visesa sobam govindam adi purusham. Tamaham bhajami. Yes, he has this peacock feather. He plays his flute, and he is all attractive. And Lakshmi Sahasra Satasambrama Sevyamanam, served by millions of goddesses of fortune. Not one, like in Vaikuntha, but by unlimited goddesses of fortune. That is Krishna. Sriya Kanta Kanta Parama Purusa Kalpataravo. Yes, there is the abode of the Lord with the Kalpataru, with the desire trees, which is full of transcendental opulence. And Nimesar Dakyo Naivrajati Nayatrapi Samayaha. There in that transcendental abode there are surabhis and there are oceans of milk. So Lord Brahma has that vision, the vision of the spiritual world. So Lord Brahma is accomplished, is an accomplished Vaishnava. And we know, we have heard how Lord Brahma is the grandfather within the universe. Pitamaha. He is the grandfather within the universe. And he is therefore aloof. Indra, he is the king of the universe. And Indra is managing universal affairs. And Lord Brahma is the grandfather. He is more powerful than Indra, but he stays in the back. But sometimes, Lord Brahma personally appears. And then even Indra is superseded. Indra's weapon, who can resist? Indra's thunderbolt weapon is so powerful. This Shakti weapon of Indra, it cannot be checked. But there is one weapon which is still more powerful in the universe, which is the Brahmastra, the weapon of Lord Brahma. Because he is the ultimate authority within the universe. Yes, Lord Brahma, such a devotee. It is said, but then the poet Vijayapati, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would listen to the poetry of Vijayapati and appreciate it. And Vijayapati says, Kota Chatra Nana Mara Mara Jivati. How many four-headed Lord Brahmas have taken their birth and have died? So many. So although the lifespan of Brahma is very long, in one day of Brahma, 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas. So Kali Yuga is 432,000 years. Then the Dwapara Yuga is double of that. The Treta Yuga is 3 times of that. And then the Satya Yuga is 4 times of that. So altogether it makes 10 times Kali Yuga. The 4 yugas, you multiply by 10, 432,000, you get 4.32 million. And that is one cycle of 4 yugas. Now, 100 years of that, right? 100 years of that. So that is a day of Brahma. One day of Brahma is 100 times, is 1,000 cycles of that, and then 100 years of those 1,000 cycles. So, astronomical number, inconceivable. The lifespan of Lord Brahma. Once I wanted to see the original deities of Madan Mohan. So, the deities of Sanatana Goswami. They are no longer in Vrindavan, because in Vrindavan when the Muslims, when Aurangzeb came, it became a big problem. Under Akbar, Vrindavan was flourishing. But then a few generations further up, Aurangzeb comes and he starts to smash all the temples and the deities. So they were quickly sending all the deities to Jaipur, which was a safe place, because the emperors, the Muslim emperors in Delhi, they needed the support of the soldiers from Jaipur to fight the Afghanis. Right? So they had a pact. And therefore they left Jaipur alone. And in this way, Jaipur became the stronghold of the Hindu stronghold. And all the deities from Vrindavan were sent there and kept there. But then one princess from Jaipur, she married the king of Karoli, which is another place in Rajasthan. And then the deity of Madan Mohan, she was very attached to him, and she took that deity. And the story goes that her father said, no, you can't take the deity. And she insisted and insisted. She says, no, I must have him. I cannot live without him. I cannot live without Madan Mohan. I must have Madan Mohan, the story goes. And they say that her father said, all right. As she was nagging, right? It's like, finally, said, okay, you can have him, but on one condition. You will be blindfolded. We will put your Madan Mohan in a room full of deities. And if you can recognize your Madan Mohan, you can take him. And so it happened. And the princess was blindfolded in the room, and there were so many deities. And she said, how will I know? Oh Madan Mohan, please, please help me. How will I know who you are when I'm blindfolded? Please, my Lord, help me. So she was going around the room feeling all the deities. And then there was one, and his arm was soft as butter. Said, this is him. This is Madan Mohan. And so Madan Mohan went to Karoli. Now Karoli is way out there in Rajasthan, and you got to go over many hills. It was a safe place for the deities, because you won't walk with an army through those hills. And, it's a real setup. Hills are dangerous places for armies, because people can hide and they can have a go at you, from the I guess it... So, in this way, the deity went to Karoli. So I went over all those hills and so on to Karoli. And when I came to Karoli, then it was so nice. Beautiful deity of Madan Mohan, and the pujari was very nice. He invited me for prasadam, and he treated me so nice, and the whole place was so transcendental. Then, as we're sitting and I'm having my prasadam, and I am saying, you are so fortunate. I said, you don't realize how fortunate you are, because in this place, the influence of Kali is diminished, right? Here, Kali Yuga is not so present, we know, what Kali Yuga is like, we're seeing it. And then he said, Kali Yuga, there are 1,000 Kali Yugas in a day of Brahma. And he just made it so insignificant. What is your Kali Yuga? There are 1,000 Kali Yugas in one day of Brahma. There's like a little cloud in the sky, just passing. A Yuga. What is a Yuga to Lord Brahma? Nothing. For us, it's Kali Yuga, 432,000 years. Is a very astronomical figure in compared to our lifespan. But in compared to the lifespan of Lord Brahma, this is all insignificant. And I could see that Pujari was very transcendental. He had a very transcendental vision. And in his transcendental vision, he saw the bigger picture. This is what it's all about. What is happening in the Bhagavad Gita? Arjuna, asochanam vasocastvam prakyavadam stabhasase gatasuna gatasunscha nanususanti pandita. O Arjuna, what is wrong with you? Arjuna, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Why are you getting so upset about all these things? The so-called death of all your family members. But Arjuna, najayate mriyate vakadachin, nahanyate hanyamane sarire. The soul doesn't take birth, the soul doesn't die. When the body is slain, nahanyate hanyamane sarire, then the soul is not slain. So Arjuna, why are you lamenting of why you are ksudratma? Arjuna, you are small-minded. You should be Mahatma. You should be great-minded. You should see the bigger picture of eternity. You should see not only the picture of eternity, but Arjuna, you should also see that Jivera Sarupai Krishna Nitya Das, that we are the eternal servant of Krishna. By constitutionally, it cannot go away. Nothing can take that away. Whatever may happen in the world, nothing can take it away that we are the servant of Krishna. Because it's eternal. So, that's it. Therefore, there is no question. of not serving Krishna, because we are the eternal servant of Krishna. That is who we are. That is our nature. And we can try to forget it. I don't like this anymore. This temple is too much, and the management is also too much, and everything is too much. The whole Hare Krishna movement is too much, and I'm taking a vacation. Yeah, maybe, but even during our vacation, we are the eternal servant of Krishna. So I also went through these things, and when I was, this long time ago, in the beginning in Krishna consciousness, I found it difficult. So after 3 months, I took a vacation, right? And I went to visit my old friends and this and that, and I wasn't so sure if I was going to go back to the temple. In fact, I sort of had enough of the whole thing. But somehow or other, I went to a movie. And the movie was called American Graffiti. And when I was watching this movie, suddenly in the movies, there were devotees. I go, what's this? Devotees, right? I tried to escape, right? And there were devotees. But the tilak they had didn't have a leaf on the nose. So I go, something is wrong here. What are these devotees, or are they fake? And next moment, these devotees, these so-called devotees, without the tulsi leaf on the nose, walked into a bar. And there were brahmacharis, and some girls sat on their laps, and they ordered some beer. And they just took the beer, and then a voice said, "It's good to have a drink after a hard day's work." And I said, what? How dare they, demons, rascals, It's like completely a devotee, right? What to do? It had gone inside. It had gone inside. It was not possible to actually walk away, because it had gone inside. The same thing we read in the Bhagavatam. A devotee is rasagraha. He has tasted the ras of bhakti. How can he ever think small again? Prabhupada in Moscow, meeting with the most prominent scientist in Indology, Professor Kotovsky. And Professor Kotovsky said, this life, Swamiji, this life is all there is. And Prabhupada said, can we really think that one little life is all there is? And then we have this mountain of desire. This mountain of desire, and we have to fulfill it all in one little life? It's impossible. Good luck to you. Right? It's like, and you have to do it all in a short time because you're growing old fast. Right? I mean, most of you are already over 17. And let's be frank, when you're over 17, there's a generation gap. Right? When you are 20, the 17-year-olds look at you like, you're old. You're old. You're 20. The day you turn 20, that day you are old. Oh, yes. You've lost your youth. You're over the hill. You're losing it. And it only gets worse. Right? Yeah. So, middle-aged, life begins at 40. Well, if life begins at 40, it doesn't look that good. The belly has come and you're getting bold, right? And, not the same energy like before. Oh, one little life. And already so many years went by and I haven't even fulfilled 10% of my desires. But already, if I'm 40, then if I get 80, then already 50% of my life is gone. If I get 70, then it's closer to 60% of my life is already gone. And I haven't even fulfilled 10% of my desires. Oh, one little life, what will I do? How will I ever fulfill all my desires? There's only one option. Enjoy with all my senses at the same time. At the same time. Oh yes. There was a movie called Midnight Cowboy. And in that movie there was one country boy. And the country boy tried to make it in the big city, but he really didn't know how it all worked. And he connected to some local character who lived in a squat house, an empty house somewhere on a building site. And his name was Ratso. And they're sort of in New York, and Ratso knows, how to survive in the concrete jungle, right? And then there's a scene in the film called Ratso's Dream, So they're talking, and it's Ratso's dream. And in Ratso's dream, Ratso is rich, filthy rich. And when he's filthy rich, he's wearing a smoking, and he is sitting next to a swimming pool. And he's listening to some wonderful music. He is drinking some cocktails. Some beautiful girls are massaging him. And Ratso is tasting some other delicious bites along with the drink. And in this way, Ratso is satisfying all his senses at the same time. Because there's no time. All has to be done in one little life. There's no time, so you just enjoy everything at the same time. And in this way, turbo enjoyment. Oh, yes. And when you drop behind, we've got a pill for you, and to give you some energy so that you can keep on doing it. Yes. And, there's a pill for everything. You don't enjoy the Saturday night? We'll give you some ecstasy. And in this way, we're living the life, trying to get it all in one short life. And then it doesn't work. Depression. Depression. It's like, I'm never going to make it. Depression. It's not gonna work out. Depression. All my hopes. Depression. Now, the Bhagavad Gita. Life after life. Denusminyata dehi komaram yovanam jara. So many lives. So many lives. We have such a big time span. Don't worry. And nothing is lost. At least when we engage in spiritual activities, it continues life after life. Relief. I have time. No anxiety. I have time to attain happiness. Maybe I didn't get it right away. So immediately, prakriti-sthani karsati, the struggle for material existence, becomes diminished just by that adjustment. Arjuna, the bigger picture of eternity. Immediately relief. Arjuna, the bigger picture of eternal service to Krishna. That is your nature. Then get eternal benefit. The eternal dimension. Prasadam. Yes, prasadam. It tastes good. Oh yes, it's super tasty. But that's not all. It's not just tasty. You also get eternal benefit. This is the amazing thing about devotional service. Eternal benefit. And there where there's no devotional service, there may be fun. There may be all kinds of things, but no eternal benefit. Sorry. It's a party. It's a party. Oh, it's a party. We got a great time. Party, party, party. Time, but then you forgot something on the party, right? You forgot something on the party, and you go back the next morning to pick it up, and you come in that room and it hasn't been cleaned yet, and it stinks. It stinks, the foul smell of all the stuff they smoked, of all the stuff everybody drank and whatever. It's foul. And you walk in and go like, oh my God, was that the party? The morning after. Misery. Oh yes. But in spiritual life, oh yes, every party has the eternal dimension. Yes. And prasadam, even if sometimes the cook blew it and it doesn't taste that good, but it's edible, it's good, but not yummy good, if you know what I mean. Not like, can I have some more of that? Is it like you want a spoon? No, that will do, thank you. No, very nice. You want some more? No, that was okay. So even if it's like that, still there's eternal benefit. And even if we don't have a good time in the temple, still there's eternal benefit. Because we're here. This is the wonderful dimension that we have, the eternal benefit dimension. And that changes everything. It makes everything worthwhile. It makes everything meaningful because you can't lose it. Once upon a time, I had a lot of money. And nowadays, ain't got no cracker to my name. How did that happen? Yeah, that's the nature of money. It's chanchalam. Lakshmi is chanchalam. She comes, she goes, and here we are. Money is there today and gone tomorrow. And yasyaham manugrinami, even Prabhupada, taddanam harishe sanai, even Prabhupada, who was successful in business, then had losses. He had losses. Yes, lost. That's how it goes. And when losses come, it's tough. I know one devotee who somehow or other, in the mid-80s, went into business. And he, at one point, Fortune magazine said that he had 350 million euros. 350 million euros. Hey, you're my friend. 350 million euros. Incredible. And then he almost lost it all. And just managed to avoid bankruptcy. That's about it. It all disappeared in the first economic crisis. Evaporated. So yes, all the temporary things that just evaporate. It just evaporates. Yes. All these temporary things. So, in this way, whatever we do, let us stay close to transcendental knowledge. Let there be hearing, because through hearing there will be remembering. And when we remember the eternal benefit of devotional service, then wherever we are, we'll serve Krishna. And this is the beautiful thing, that it doesn't take anything. People were performing Ashvamedha Yagyas. That was very difficult. And Ashvamedha, so many arrangements to perform an Ashvamedha Yagya. But we got it easy. Just chant Hare Krishna. Can do it anywhere. Can do it even in inauspicious places, like a desert. It can be done. Yagya cannot be done there. But chanting of Hare Krishna can be done. It can be done. So, just hear about Krishna. Just chant Hare Krishna. Bhaja Krishna, Bolo Krishna, Kore Krishna, Sikha, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. Worship Krishna with love. Bhaja Krishna. Bolo Krishna. Chant the holy name of Krishna. And Kore Krishna Sikha. Hear about the teachings of Krishna. And we will be always connected to the eternal benefit. And this is our good fortune. one little life. What's the point to go back to one little life? One tiny little life. No. That cannot be, Professor Kotowski. My heart doesn't fit in one little life. That is for sure. There, it cannot be satisfied. Only eternally at the feet of Krishna. There, our heart will be satisfied. Thank you very much. Any questions? Any comments? Yes.
Maharaj, it might seem that also in spiritual life we are under a little time pressure because we want to become pure devotees, and it's a little race, and it's not so easy.
In spiritual life, there is also time pressure. We want to become pure devotees, and there's a little race called the mode of passion. And we can't storm the gates of heaven. We cannot. No. Yes, we want to be pure devotees. But we also have to accept, with time, we have to become humble. And also accept who we are. And just say, I am unfortunate because I received this transcendental knowledge, but I couldn't take advantage of it. I'm unfortunate because I got devotional service, but I didn't take it seriously. I'm unfortunate. I got everything, but time went so quick, and then I had some struggle with the past. I still had to digest whatever happened in my childhood. And then I still had so many desires to fulfill. And then people, they didn't treat me nice. And then I was so upset about all these things, and it distracted me. And it wasn't fair what they did to me. It was not fair. And I was mistreated. And meanwhile, time went by. And I'm still not a pure devotee. And now I am old. Now it is late. The frog was croaking in the rainy season. The snake who is hearing with its tongue, who has no ears, but who catches the sound on its tongue. That tongue in the open mouth, and the snake came closer to that frog and suddenly swallowed it without chewing it, and started to sort of slowly swallow the whole snake, the whole frog. And then the frog was 80% swallowed, and only the head stuck out. And then a little fly was just flying right in front of its nose. And the frog just threw out its tongue to catch that little fly. Oh. Is there time? So, no. I have wasted my life. Oh Krishna, I've wasted my life. I did not actually achieve pure devotional service. Oh, what do I do now? Turn to Lord Gauranga. Oh Lord Chaitanya, I was not very qualified. I did not do well in devotional service, but please give me the mercy anyway. All right, Lord Nityananda, you saved Jagai and Madai. They were the biggest rascals, so I'm also a rascal. I am also a Jagai Madai. Please save me. Yes, we pray. But don't worry. We pray for the mercy of Lord Nityananda, but we already got it. Prabhupada already gave it to us. He already brought it. Oh, Nityananda, Nityananda, oh, Nityananda, please give your mercy to me. You already got it. You already got it. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, I'm lower than a worm in stool. In the next verse he says, I'm so sinful, anyone who meets me loses all his piety credits. In the third verse he said, but how amazing it is that one like me is got the mercy of Nityananda. This is the mercy of Nityananda. We're in the middle of it. And the fact that it is, that you can't walk away from it, that we are rasa graha, that we have tasted, that is also there. When we follow the vows, we can try and make it into something beautiful. And when we don't follow the vows, those vows will beat our heart. They'll beat our heart. So if we don't perform, then our vows will beat our heart. Yes, and that will be difficult to bear. And that will bring us back to Krishna at one point in a very humble mood, where we say, okay, Prabhus, please, can I do some devotional service? We had a temple in Heidelberg in the center of the city. And but over time, the devotees changed. It was a brahmachari temple, right? And Sachinandan Maharaj lived there, and so many. It was really like the happening place in Germany for a long time. It was a powerhouse. Many Sankirtan devotees would go out from there. But then over time, more and more of the devotees were getting married, and it felt like it's difficult, as a grihastha to live in the city, too expensive. So why don't we get like something in the country where it's easier to live for a family? And so Golokadam was born and purchased, and the Heidelberg temple was closed. Now, somehow or other, they invited me for the last Sunday feast. So it was the last Sunday feast. And it was a party, right? And we had this very long kirtan, like a little kirtan mela, so many hours of kirtan. And devotees were dancing, and like the temple leader, he just was jumping, and they do this dance, typical German thing, of two guys who jump into the skies and bang with chest against chest, so it was full on, right? It was really like the final party. And then the temple president made an announcement to the guests at the Sunday feast. And I say, my dear guests, thank you so much for coming at the Sunday feast. We want to make a little announcement. Next week, there will be no Sunday feast, right? And also the restaurant, right, will be closed because next week there will be no more temple. And the guests are looking at like, suddenly as if, wow, if someone, this was a practical joke, they're thinking, what is the date? Is it the 1st of April or something, What's going on, right? This cannot be true. But it was. The temple was closed. Then, Vipula started a temple somewhere outside of Leipzig, like in some forgotten place, and outside of Heidelberg, in some forgotten place. And then after 6 years, they opened a little storefront in Heidelberg. And it was just a gift shop with some soap and some oils, all the new agey stuff, etc. But it had also a counter with prasadam. And somehow or other, all the old customers from the restaurant, they found it. And they were like people that had crashed with a plane in the desert and somehow or other survived. And they were walking out of the desert. And they came They came walking into the shop, and they said, "Do you have some of that food?" Right? And there was. This is the nature of devotional service. Somehow or other, it may take time, O Gaur Mahan, but we've got the mercy of Nityananda. So Asabandha, hope against hope, even if you're not pure devotees, that will still go back to Godhead, we hope. And if it's not this lifetime, all right, if you have to come back, all right, then maybe be devotees again and again. All right, 7 lives. All right, what's 7 lives? Whatever it is. But let us pray that we may never become disconnected from devotional service, from the eternal benefit. You had a question. Yeah.
Then I ask myself why it's so important to fulfill the wish in this life to be a pure devotee and so on. Because for me, it's like I think that time doesn't exist in the hierarchy.
That's right. That's right. But there is, of course. Let's look at it like this. There is a rope. There's a boat, the boat of transcendental knowledge. They've thrown the rope to pull us out of the ocean. And we're supposed to really hold on to this rope so seriously, with both hands, with full force. That's pure devotion. But then, in the water, somehow or other, you were stranded in the water, but you still have your suitcase also, and it's floating. And in there are really good things. I mean, goody, it's good stuff, right? It's all in that suitcase. Everything. Oh, yes. And you're holding on with one hand to that suitcase. And you're holding on to the rope. And at the top of the rope, they say, "Let go of your suitcase." Oh, come on. I can't let go of my suitcase. No, I held on to it for so long, I almost drowned, but I managed to hold on to my suitcase, and now they're going to save me, and now they're telling me I have to let go of my suitcase. No way. So I'll hold on to it, and if they want to pull me out, I'll do it with one hand, suitcase and everything. This is the problem. When you're not coming. So, I don't know. You may be pulled up, but you may fall back down because of the suitcase. So it may take a long time. How many times have we already grabbed the rope, but not fully? How many times, it is said by Rupa Goswami that most of us are continuing our devotional service from last life. Then my question is, what went wrong? What went wrong in the last life that we didn't go back to God yet? Let it not go wrong again. So this time, to hell, you suitcase. I don't care about you. I'm grabbing that rope with 2 hands, right? With 2 hands, with all my might. I hold on to it. And please, pull me out. Pull me out of this ocean of material existence. Like that. So better we go back in one lifetime. Just in case we fall back down. Later on, in Kali Yuga, people will become cannibals. I mean, imagine, you'll be in the Bhakta program and suddenly there's one Bhakta with a bite missing from his shoulder. And you're looking, it's it's dark kirtan, early Mongol Arctic here, it's pretty dark, right? And after Mongol Arctic, there's a bite missing from someone's shoulder. Huh? And then the temple president has to go, "Open your mouth." Huh? And try and find traces of the shoulder. So it's not going to get easier in the next life. Kali Yuga will progress. Better get out of here now. It's not, we've got eternity. I'm going slow and steady. And, and it doesn't really matter. Yeah, but what if you fall down? What if you disappear? What if your suitcase pulls you out? Oh yes, you cannot lose, Krishna. It cannot pull you out forever. But for who knows how long? How many detours are we going to make? Right? I mean, really, are we really done? Are we done with smoking dope? That is a question. And if not, then are we going to do it again? I took one devotee into the Himalayas. I thought I was going to do something for him to inspire him because he was quite burned out. I drove him into beautiful mountains, and we get down of the vehicle. We stand in a field, and he goes, "Help! Take me out of here." I go, "What's wrong with you? Are you afraid of mountains?" He said, "No, look, look, look." And he pointed at the plants. Then I looked. There was cannabis growing all over the field, everywhere. That's how it is. Maya will cook it up for you. Oh yes, Mr. Suitcase. Maya, she's got just what you want. Maya, she knows exactly what is the thing that you actually really want, but you never told anyone. Although you were dressed up all this time, Hare Krishna, Haribol Prabhu, Jai, and Sarira Vijaja. But meanwhile, what thoughts have you been thinking? Maya knows. And Maya knows. Oh, this is what you want? Tudum, tudum, tudum. The golden opportunity. Oh, God. Now it comes. Now it comes. My whole life I wanted it. I didn't get it. Then I joined the Hare Krishnas. And now it's here. Now it's here. Too late. Now I can't take it anymore. Oh, no. Now I've promised to follow these principles. But, oh, now it has come. If I don't take this opportunity, I'll never forgive myself. Well, I guess I'm going to fall down, and I can always be KC tomorrow. And here we go again. And the game goes on and on and on. And, the cycle of birth and death continues. Once again, we blew it. Right? So it's not just, I've got lots of lives and I just gradually, slowly advance in devotional service. No, Maya is there. It says, Krishna Bhaya Mukhahaya Bhogavanchakara Nikitastamaya Tara Japatiyahaya. Prema Vivarta Jagannananda Pandit says that when you start to flirt with Maya, when you start to take some interest in the external energy, Maya is standing nearby, ready to slap you down. So it's not about falling down, it's slapping down. She will slap you down. Yeah. So, better bye-bye suitcase, bye-bye material desires, bye-bye. I will not invest in you. I cannot get rid of you, but I will not invest in you. And pray to Krishna that he will take them away. And I'll hold on to my beads, right? And somehow or other, in this way, I hope to make it this lifetime. Thank you very, very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.